Well, it was unexpected, just as it has sparked anxiety in the public. This Chase Bank customer captures the gist of the predicament of Chase Bank customers.
Some things are beyond us. There was no way for us to figure out that someone has decided to take a loan of that amount for themselves and never pay back or without security. So we expect that this is a central bank that will put checks to make sure that those things never happen and that our money is continuously being safe within those banks.
All right, and in studio right now I'm joined by the Vice President of the Law Society of Kenya. This is Faith Waigwa. Thank you very much for making time talking to us this evening.
Welcome, James.
Here's the thing. I hear lawyers have lost money as well, or you're not lucky enough to know that Chase Bank was going down.
It's so unfortunate that we were caught up in the mix. As lawyers, we actually convened, as a council, we convened a meeting urgently on Wednesday. That was the 6th, when we got the rumor going round or the snapshots on social media. And we were like, we can't wait a day longer. So we convened a meeting, an urgent meeting. We were able to make a resolution, pass a resolution, to have the monies transferred to a different bank. Unfortunately, the bank was placed under receivership on 7th. So it was very unfortunate, but the council did all it could within its powers to salvage the situation.
How much money are we talking about here, Faith?
James, I'm sorry, I can't say that. This is not for public consumption, the amount that is at Chase Bank. But we can always tell our lawyers how much was placed at Chase Bank.
Right. So this is fairly interesting because not only entities like you are caught up in this mix, but many Kenyans we've been talking to since Thursday, they've been going through this. What is it exactly that you think can be done right now, or you see some of the legal redress that can be instituted right now to help people who want to get the money from the bank?
What pains me is amongst those Kenyans are lawyers. So many legal firms are being crippled as we speak. They do not have any finances, whether in their office account, because lawyers do have two kinds of accounts, office accounts and clients accounts. So lawyers have been changed to become counselors. They're managing their clients as we speak. And they are also not having funds to run their offices. So it's something that is quite unfortunate, but all is not lost in my view. As the society, what we've decided is that we are seeking audience with the central bank governor, Njoroge, Dr. Njoroge, and it's for a reason why we are seeking audience with him. Basically, we need to build up on our case. At the end of the day, if we are to take any legal action in court, then we have to have certain documentation. And this documentation, we can only find it at the CBK.
What are some of the legal avenues available to you?
We will definitely advise the CBK governor. We actually support the CBK governor to crack the whip. Although I was a bit astonished at the fact that he made a statement on Wednesday that all was well, only for Thursday for him to place the bank under receivership. But one of the things we are going to talk to the CBK governor is, one, he has to ensure that this bank does not close down completely. I know historically in Kenya, there is no bank that has been placed under receivership which has been able to be resuscitated, but there is always a first time. And one of the ways is to have the shareholders or certain investors inject certain cash liquidity into the bank. The other thing we are looking at is to ensure the preservation of the assets of the bank. This is because the depositors need to be paid at some point. So we have to preserve so that shareholders do not sell off some of these assets. The CBK governor, what they can do as CBK, they must be able to place a caution or a caveat over these assets. The other thing, of course, is to follow the directors of Chase Bank, because we cannot have rogue bankers walking free and doing what they've done to Kenyans and to lawyers. So that is one of the things that must, at the end of it all, we must see these people account for what they've taken this country through. Yes.
Do you feel right now, from the measures that are being taken, do you feel right now it gives any confidence for Kenyans to say, well, our financial institutions are healthy and we can do business, we can... Do you have an indication of...
What I would say, let's not give up. Let's support the governor in cracking the whip. And I'm calling upon government to act swiftly in supporting the CBK governor. Why I'm saying this is because I'm worried about National Bank of Kenya. The people who sit as directors, some of them are representative of the treasury. So I do not understand how a bank can be in such a mess when we have government officials there. So for me, we cannot condone corruption anymore in this country. It has to come to an end one way or another.
Faith, is the thing, this governor is not barely a year into office, and he's already come and already you can see all this. It appears that he's just barely scratching the surface of the whole thing. So there could be a bigger problem that needs a better solution than what we have.
The bigger problem for me is the former CBK governor. I do not think the bank can get into a mess within a span of less than 12 months. We've seen there are 3 banks now that have been placed under receivership. And my question is, was the former governor in bed with crooks within the banking industry? If that was the case, then action needs to be taken against him. Because we cannot talk of people posting accounts which do not necessarily exist. An example in place with Chase Bank, they initially posted that the insider loans were 2 billion. Only for CBK to query on that issue, and we got a figure of 13.6 billion. 11 billion
They could hide 11 billion.
Was hidden at some point. And the question is, this amount is higher than the shareholders' equity. It's eating into the shareholding of the bank. I think it's a sad state of affairs.
Which brings us to the original question, really. Is it possible to resuscitate this bank? That is the big question.
It is possible to resuscitate the bank. But what the governor needs to do is give an opportunity for shareholders, if they are willing, to inject money into the bank. Number 2, change the management of Chase Bank, because we can't continue operating with the same people who caused the problem. That's number 2. Number 3, Chase Bank will have to up their game on PR, because there are advantages of placing an institution under receivership. In this sense, the governor is trying to protect the interest of the depositors. Yes. That's an advantage. But the disadvantage is the reputation of this institution is washed away. So Chase Bank will have to do whatever it takes if they are to survive on PR.
And because that's the thing, because I mean, it's fine, Chase Bank can still come back tomorrow and start operating, but who would want to deposit their money on Chase Bank again? Who would want to do business with them?
Remember that these investors who want to put in money, their shareholders who want to inject money, I'm told. But the thing is, in the meantime, there has to be a limit as to how much a depositor can withdraw money. That is the only way we are going to manage, because if Chase Bank is open tomorrow, everyone is going to rush there and withdraw the money.
Take out their money.
And we go back to the same scenario, because I'm meant to understand why the bank was placed under receivership was because of the massive withdrawals out of panic, and they lost they went down to 7 billion in terms of withdrawal. That is what cost essentially.
Well, that is an effect, to be fair, Faith, to Kenyans and the whole social media madness that happened after that. Because the original question was that, and the smoke was that there's 11 billion missing in the account. So the Kenyans are like, well, this is a problem. I can see this thing going down. I don't want to be in a ship that is sinking. And
that's why I'm saying the PR level will have to go really high for Chase Bank for them to withstand the challenges. But one thing before we finalize, CBK must take responsibility too, because its officers most likely are in the know. They have a supervisory role in checking out on the banks. What have they been doing until this time round? So I think Dr. Njoroge needs to crack the whip internally as he cracks the whip externally at the end of the day.
I'd like to pick your opinion and your thoughts about the government's response, right, to this Chase Bank story. Is that no one is losing their money. We will get you your money. Central says we are putting some money somewhere. If any bank would face, the kind of social media issues that Chase Bank just will give you the money to, so that you don't get into the same problems. The problem is that we are fixing what are symptoms. The bigger problem is there appears to be some banking, problems with the whole banking structure. Do you feel that is a bigger question that is being sorted by anyone, or is just
I think the issue of injecting money in case a bank faces such challenges, for me, it's not sustainable. For how long are you going to be injecting money into institutions which are poorly managed? So I think the entire banking industry has to be relooked. We have to take those people who are culpable. They must answer for the things that they have done.
But that's the thing that we don't do too well in this country, Faith. If I could give you, another question is that the problem is we do very well on managing, what has happened, but we don't go and say, well, how did actually what went wrong, who is in the wrong, and who gets punished, who takes responsibility. We don't do that very well in this country, do we?
I can tell you for a fact, James, as long as advocates have been affected, we are not going to let this thing go the same way things have been done in the past. It's going to be a new beginning for this country in terms of cracking the whip and in terms of not condoning corruption at whatever level.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that there's some loophole somewhere in the law that has allowed banks to operate freely, or not anyone, to detect, any kind of malpractice in the banks?
I don't think there's a loophole. I think there's laxity on the duty bearers. There's laxity on those people who have been given the fiduciary duty on taking care of Kenyans' monies. So there's been laxity. And these people are either negligent, they are corrupt, or by way of omission, they've not performed their duty. So they must be answerable. And we are saying, as the Law Society of Kenya, we will take the legal actions that are necessary. All we are doing right now is getting information from our membership, seek audience with the CBK governor. We'll give him the support that he requires. But as I said, we must also see that he acts internally as we assist him to deal with the issues externally.
Is it possible for any Kenyan, right now I've seen people asking on Twitter, that is it possible for any Kenyan to ask for a legal redress to somehow find the previous governor, culpable on these issues? Is it something that can be pursued?
I don't think it's something that cannot be pursued. All we need is to sit down and work it out as a society. We will help Kenyans as we help ourselves.
Yeah, because many Kenyans, Faith, truth be told, from Thursday, we've seen stories after stories of heartache, of families being broke, of businesses being, destroyed, just because they could not access the money. They put faith in these institutions. They expected that these institutions are being run, in the best possible way, legally above board. But that just doesn't appear to be the case. They've been failed.
What I would tell Kenyans, let's take this as a starting point with the new governor, who is barely 12 months in office. If the governor does not act, then we take action against him at the end of the day. Because as I said, we are not going to watch things go down as we suffer as Kenyans. And you can take my word for that from the Law Society of
Kenya. Okay, so final thoughts, action points. What happens tomorrow? Wake up tomorrow, Chase Bank has not opened and they're still locked with the money. What happens?
We are still looking for documentation. We are still building up our case. We are still seeking audience with the governor. And then we will move after that.
They're not getting away from this?
They're not getting away, I can assure you.
Faith Waigwa,
thank you very
Vice
much.
President, Law Society of Kenya, thank you very much for talking to
You're
us.
welcome.
And wish you the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, because many Kenyans are hoping that people like you can help them to get away from this. We're talking to the Vice President of the Law Society of Kenya, Faith Waigwa, there, giving assurances and what exactly can be done legally. You're watching Monday Night News. Don't go too far. We have plenty more on the other side of the break.